Good morning. Today, I just want to do a quick one while I have my little window of time here. You know what I do is, because my wife's doing all her Zoom meetings upstairs, so I'll get Evie, we'll play and stuff during the day or during the early morning. And then, usually once it gets to like 10 and 11, she starts to get a little tired. So then I'll throw on a nice little, Disney music playlist. She's just up there playing with some dolls and listening to some Aladdin, it sounds like. So hopefully that's not picking up too much on the mic. And let me get into today's lesson at hand. So I want to pull a little bit from the great one, the Tao, the way of Kung Fu, of Gung Fu, Bruce Lee. Do not localize your attention. That's the goal for today. You might be like, what's that mean? So think about it this for a sec. It's like, think about when we're depressed or when we're anxious or when we're just in a bad mood and we're focusing continually on the same thing constantly. Our attention is tremendously localized. It's focused on something very specific. Do not localize your attention. Not to localize or partialize the mind is the end of spiritual training. So again, I'm doing like dramatic eye. I should. First of all, I shouldn't be drinking during the video. Second of all, I shouldn't be setting it on the mic table. Anyways, you've heard me make that comment before, but that's gonna be a loud bang. Anyways, the concept here is when it says the end of spiritual training, it doesn't mean like that's like the. What it means is, you know how you hear people say the means to an end. It's like the end is the goal. The goal of spiritual training is to stop doing this. Right? To stop getting in this thing where we're so reactive. Because when your mind can be nowhere, it can be everywhere. When it occupies 1/10, it is absent in the other 9/10. When you're focusing on the 3 things that are a problem in your life, you're forgetting the 17 things that aren't. And the people that actually love you and care about you and are fighting for you and that want to have a fun time with you and share a funny story. And let the Kung Fu man, let the martial artist discipline himself or herself, that to have the mind to go its own way instead of trying to deliberately to confine it to somewhere. Therefore, during Chao So, a form of Chinese martial art, I'll just say, therefore, during martial arts, you should have nothing purposely designed, nothing consciously calculated, no anticipation, no expectation. Now, obviously, Bruce Lee's a guy that spent most of his life training and studying and fighting arts. So it's not like he thinks you should go, if you had to be into a physical fight, that you should go into that with no training. What he's saying is, once you're in it, having tons of cognitive activity and doubt and thought and what if, that stops serving you. When you're in the moment, you have to be in the moment. To become conscious is characteristic of the human mind, as distinguished from the mind of lower animals. But when the mind becomes conscious of its own doings, it ceases to be instinctual, and its commands are colored with calculations and deliberations. You're not, and this is the interesting thing, right? Your instincts have honed over hundreds of thousands of years. We assume that our thinking is smarter than our instinct. That's, likely foolish. When the mind becomes conscious of its doings, it ceases to be instinctual and its commands are colored with calculations and deliberations, which means that the connection between itself and its limbs is no longer direct because the identity of the commander and his executive agent is lost. There's noise in the signal. When dualism, then he has in quotes here, or in brackets, yang against yang, end bracket, takes place, the whole personality never comes out of itself. It's like it's itself in itself. How's that for a sentence? It's like it's itself in itself. Now, if you've ever been an athlete in a sport, too much in your own head, or an actor, or a student giving a presentation, and you're noticing that you're shaking because, and you're noticing your breath, and you're noticing how you said the same word twice, and and all of that's pulling you out of the message you're trying to take. I had a good chat with a great student the other day about that, but this idea of like staying in the moment. And I had a quote on my wall. I don't have it now, but from Bruce Lee, and this was actually a quote from Muhammad Ali, the great boxer, who said something like, consciousness of self is the biggest hindrance of physical movement. I just know that because I had it on my wall. But what that means is, like, Yogi Berra, the baseball player, used to say, like, you can't hit and think about hitting at the same time. You have to get out of your own way in the moment. Okay? Yeah, get out of your own way. Don't focus. I can hear Evie going nuts. I gotta leave. Do not localize your attention. All right? Love you.